Oh, no way.
Okay. Hey, good evening, all. So, on behalf of the Lebanese Heritage Group, we welcome you to our Hafla, our first Hafla, our inaugural Hafla. As a brief introduction, my name is Claude. Some call me Claude, but I go by both. Gora, the son of Camille Gora and Therese Gora, who's sitting right here. Brother to Phil and Frederick, and nephews. You may notice, or you may have heard of their names: George Gora, Edmund, Sam, Helen, and Marguerite. And grandson to Albert and Nafi Gora, who would have arrived here on the north side in the 1930s. So I bring that out because each of our families here have in this room have a common background and a common heritage, and that's that Lebanese culture. Right. So again, welcome. We'll begin this evening's program. As you can see in the program here, we have national anthems. So we're going to start with the Canadian anthem, and then we're going to Dave Peterson is going to sing that for us. So. Dave.
O Canada, our home and native land, through patriot love, in all our sons' command, with glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
If you'd like to remain standing, we're going to do the Lebanese anthem as well. It's going to be played electronically, of course.
having trouble connecting to your device.
That's because it's Lebanese.
It's coming from Beirut.
كلنا للوطن للعلا للعلم ملء عين الزمن سيفنا والقلم سهلنا والجبل منبط للنساء والرجال قولنا والعمل في سبيل الكمال كلنا للوطن للعلا للعلم كلنا للوطن للعلا للعلم كلنا للوطن.
Okay, I think that covers the entrance. Thank you, the very talented Dane Peterson and Vienna for the comedic relief. Okay, so we're going to move on to the program here. We're going to do an opening prayer, and we'll call upon Father Jake Andrew for a few words.
Maybe. Thank you, Claude. Just before the prayer, I'd like to express my sincere joy, an honor and privilege to be here tonight, to listen to those two anthems together is really a special blessing for me. And I just want to say too a special shout out to Charlene and to the committee for initiating this beautiful effort we have here tonight, and for the beautiful decorating, the must-have work that has been done up to this point. I just want to say one quick little addenda. The Maronites rite is a very special rite, and the Lebanese are the only ones who belong to that rite. It's an all-Catholic rite, and when I was in the seminary, I had to change my rite in order to be ordained a priest in this diocese. So also did Father Abbesses and Father Maroon and any others that were Lebanese. The reason being, as a Lebanese person, once you were ordained, or once you finished your ordination to diaconate, just before ordination, you could be a married person. So the bishop of the diocese decided he did not want any married priests in this diocese. I guess that's the reason. So I was issued a paper. Don't know if it was in Greek, Hebrew, or Latin, but I had to sign it. It's a long, long piece of paper, placing my hand on the Bible, saying that I was going to change my rite from Maronite to Latin rite. That's why I'm not married. Let us pray. O God, we call forth your blessing upon our gathering here this weekend as we learn more about our Lebanese heritage, its history, language, food and cultural artifacts and accomplishments. Continue to inspire those who began this effort to keep alive the meaning of being Lebanese, and also the organization committee that helps us so much. Help all those who teach us and help us to be willing to listen and to learn more about our heritage as we ask them the questions that we may need to have answered. We also say a special prayer right now for the country of Lebanon, which is at this very moment undergoing some serious civil disturbance. They are a country that has had many times civil wars in their history, and we don't want to see another one. May peace be there, peace be in our homes, and peace be in each heart. We ask this blessing through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Thank you. We do have special guests here with us today. Over here on my right-hand side, we have the Honorable Derek Mumbercat, the Honorable Keith Bain, the Honorable Brian Young, our Mayor, Honorable Cecil Clark, Councillor Erlene McMahon. We have regrets from Councillor Clarence Prince, Father Peter McLeod, and Father Jake Andrew, of course. So thank you for taking the time to be here. Very much appreciated from the committee. So, as a welcome, I'd like to call upon Charlene Peterson, our chair, and Isabel Rahe Tobin, our vice chair, up front for a welcome. However, before we do that, I do want to explain this. We have a certificate here, and it came from the province. I'm going to read it to you here. Certificate of recognition presented to North Sydney and area Lebanese Heritage Group, Charlene Peterson and Joe Meany. It continues on here. It says, for your dedication and passion in ensuring that the legacy and contributions of our province's Lebanese community are honored and preserved in North Sydney during Nova Scotia's Lebanese Heritage Month. Congratulations on co-hosting the Hafla Community Celebration and workshops in collaboration with the North Sydney Historical Society, including the unveiling of the Lebanese exhibition of culture, accomplishments, and artifacts at the North Sydney Heritage Museum. This is signed by the Honorable Lena Metlech Diab. She's the MLA, stamped here Minister of Immigration. So this is a very, very unique document. One thing I want to say personally, and on behalf of the group, this document encompasses our leader here, Charlene. Without Charlene's perseverance here and what she's done, starting back in last fall, I came on board in January, and it's been a head turner. I've learned a lot about my own family. I've learned a lot about other families, and so Charlene, I thank you for that, and on behalf of the rest of the group. So Charlene and Isabel, if you want to come up and do a welcome. I do have Kleenex here, Charlene.
Just for me. Thank you so much for coming. I didn't have it in my notes, but I'm Charlene Rahe Peterson. My parents were Dave and Elaine Rahe here in town, and my grandfather was Louis with the grocery store. We're just overjoyed to have you all here with us tonight, and I practiced this quite a lot today, but I may read the notes. Our Hafla is the celebration of our past, and if you were like me, I didn't know a lot about my past or my Lebanese past. So I had to look up the word Hafla, and so to find out that it was a party, a celebration, and of course that's what this is. But at a Hafla, you are to expect a room full of music, color, sparkles, and smiles. But more importantly, familiar faces and friends you haven't yet met. And I think that's just a beautiful line right there. And I think that's what's going to happen here this weekend. And that's our hope. Claude alluded to it, but it's really just a funny chain of events that led us here this evening. My son reminded me the other day about this, and he said, "Mom, do you remember that first time we came to the museum?" And I think it opened in 2011. Am I right, Gordon? 2011. Gordon Sampson was instrumental. Well, the reason for the Historical Society.
Historical Society in
Yes.
77.
77, and that's right, and instrumental in getting this beautiful building here. So we came in and we're looking around, and we came across the Dutch Heritage display over there. And I'm very pleased for the Dutch. But the only thing I could think of is, why isn't there a Lebanese heritage display here in Sydney? Because for me, I just had family members and so many in the community and Lebanese businesses along Commercial Street. And that's what I was thinking of. And of course, I was complaining. I can't believe there's no heritage group for a commemoration down here. And then it just anyone bring up the museum, I probably would have brought that up again to them. So then last fall, I was in my mother-in-law's living room, and just so happened on TV that there was a little segment about the Lebanese immigrant statue at Pier 21 that was just 2018 September, just unveiled. And if you're not familiar with it, it's I did a little bit of research. It's in different cities all over the world where there are pockets of Lebanese immigrants. And I thought, aha, we could have some sort of monument out front here. And that's all I really thought we would do. I thought that we might fundraise and have a little ceremony out front here. But I complained on Facebook or suggested on Facebook and brought it up, and there were some positive reviews, but there's one that I have to comment on. It was Lara Westaver, and she said something different. She said, "I called my Uncle Bill." And so Bill Westaver Weatherby is on the Historical Society. And of course, then I'm wrapped up in something now, and he says, "Let's have a meeting," and so on and so forth. So here we are after just that little coincidence. And it's been just very special to come here, to be with you tonight on this. We're not just here celebrating the exhibit. We are here to celebrate our committee and the gathering of all these different families in a heritage group like this. I don't know if you can see them, but we just got our banners yesterday. It was a source of joy for us, says Claude. I do say Claude, but the banners are all around. It's kind of hidden right now. We'll reveal it more later with our logo on it. How special that was to see as well. So we thought we wanted an official kickoff, and this is it. This is what the committee came up with, that we could have a display and invite you all here to it. We hope there's going to be many more in the future, small, big and small. The committee wants to thank some people too. We definitely, the Historical Society, Joe, there's been nothing but support, and anything I've asked for has been granted. It's great. The Cape Breton Regional Library, I know Debbie Pedetz is over there just for us tonight to watch over things for us, but when you get a group of Lebanese citizens around the table, and next to a library, we get awfully loud in here. And we did start off in their little room, and we then moved over here because more and more people came out to our meetings each month. So that was nice too. So we've had to shush ourselves a few times. So we want to thank them. John Rahe, Isabel's brother, is in Halifax, but he donated the arak we're going to make a toast with later. It's a liqueur. And Jack and Betty Hatcher for coffee and tea tomorrow night at our storytelling event, and Cape Breton beverages as well, and we have bakery, etc. But we also wanted to say thank you to the Northern Yacht Club for our unofficial event in this June. We had a little potluck event at the Yacht Club, and thank you, John, for getting that for us. I know I saw him here. Thank you. It was a beautiful venue. And Malcolm McMillan for the sound system. Hopefully right now downstairs, Hassan is there preparing our food for 8 o'clock. I didn't check on that point, but Hassan, we only gave him one anxiety attack as we kept changing our numbers for this evening's event. We're very grateful to the Nova Scotia Department of Communities, Culture and Heritage. I have to look to make sure I get that one right. And the Support for Culture program. The director, I think I'm right, Natasha Jackson, came down from Halifax to talk to us about things that we could do here. And she was just lovely and helpful. And she has 2 wonderful assistants, one of whom is here this evening. Rima Tomei came down from Halifax, and Megan Howell as well. So they've been on the other end of the computer helping me along the way. I want to just mention as well, on a personal note, a good friend of mine, Jay Bootler, is in Toronto. And just by conversation, I said, I was very excited. I have been very passionate about this group. And I mentioned to Jay that we're learning how we're connected. And, you know, I found out that so-and-so was married to so-and-so, and I actually am related to those families. And wouldn't it be great if we had some sort of family tree that we could look to? And I kind of forgot about it. And then a few months later, I get a message, Charlene, I'm almost done. And so there's a really big binder right here. It does, about 3/4 of it is Jay's work. He did family tree research for 23 families of Lebanese descent who came to North Sydney. I have to give him a round of applause. He's put in a lot of time at the Toronto Public Library and online, so it's just amazing. And maybe we'll publish it someday because it's worthwhile. I want to just say, I think I speak for the group when I say that our display hopefully reflects our pride in our Lebanese heritage. Over the course of the project, I think we've come to more fully appreciate how vital our families were in the history of the towns of North Sydney, Sydney Mines, Florence, and for the Andreas, there are a few Andreas here tonight, for Mill Creek. Mill Creek. And that's over 130 years. We're documenting 1888 for these early immigrants. It's really something else. They came with hopes and dreams for their futures, became hardworking Canadians with strong values and a unique culture surrounding their family, their community. They were very community-minded, wonderful business people, and of course they had very unique food for the area that we're all going to share in tonight. The items we chose for the display reflect some of what they brought with them from Lebanon to give them a sense of home. But a lot of the items reflect their lives here in Canada. Some of the items are very big. You'll see argile. I'm getting it. It's hard, these words. Argile water pipe, and it's beautiful, donated by Harold Jabley and Edna. And, you know, down to the very simple of things. There's a key, just a key to Albert Shabib's shoe repair shop. And it's really sweet. So they all bring back, we think, treasured memories of our past here in the communities. So we want you to keep in mind that this evening marks just the beginning of this journey. We want to preserve as much of our history as possible and learn about our history and heritage as possible. And I do want to say as well, I did forget to thank somebody. I want to thank my family too for all the support as I'm running out the door to my meetings and maybe not making the best of supper before I went. You have to look after yourselves tonight. But I want to thank them very much for their support and help here tonight. And I also have to thank the committee. The committee is just a wonderful group. We were strangers, really, even if we were related to each other. And I think really become family. So thank you so much. Yeah, I survived. Thank you.
أهلا وسهلا فيكم. اسمي إيزابيل راهي توبت بنت of Iser and Laurice راهي. جدي ريتشارد راهي من ساحلي لبنان. هلا ليلي كتير مبسوط مع كل العالم تجي لهان لشوفي شو كل الشغلي عملت. وكل شغلي من بيت ألدين، بيت أندريا، بيت أنثوني، بيت أستبن، بيت بالا، بيت جارب، بيت قرة، بيت جدلي، بيت جميل، بيت جوزيف، بيت كسوف، بيت كيتر، بيت خواجة، بيت كالي كلف، بيت النديف، بيت النيدر، بيت راي، بيت السقا، بيت الشباب، بيت الشواري، وبيت تورنا. هاو آيلي كتير بس هلا بس واحد آيلي كلنا تيجي لهان نشتغل مع بعضنا تتعمل هاي حفلة لشوف كل وجهان كتير مبسوط والآيتي فوق عم بتشوف من فوق لهان ووجههم كتير منيح وقلبهم كتير مبسوط مع كل الشغل اللي عملتهم. بدي إليلك هلا الآيتي فوق كتير مبسوط معنا وكل الشغيلي هان مثل آيتي. And I'm going to do this in English. My name is Isabel Rahe Tobin. I am the daughter of Iser and Laurice Rahe. My grandparents are Richard and Dee Rahe. Richard and Dee came over here in 1910 to begin their new life. They had 8 children. Our family was mostly in the grocery business and later became in the furniture business and general stores. We've diversified. I'm a healthcare coordinator with Continuing Care, just recently retired. And I'd like to welcome you here tonight, and I hope you'll enjoy our display. Our committee has been very hard at work trying to create this, and we came as numerous families to do this tonight, and we are now one great big happy family. So I'm closing. I'd also like to mention that I am also on the board with the Cedars Club in Sydney, and they've kindly donated $200 to this event, and I'd like to thank them for their contribution. Now I'd like to hand this over to Claude.
Yeah.
Okay, now we'd like to move on and have opening remarks from the Nova Scotia government. And if Derek Marquette could come up, please.
Thanks, Todd. Mayor, good to see you. Keith, good to see you. You're everywhere, man. Everywhere I go, you're here. So we appreciate you having here. Erlene, thanks for being here. Father, ladies and gentlemen, very honored to be here tonight on behalf of Leo Levine. I also extend his best wishes along with Lena's. She provided the certificate as well. Patricia Arab, who was a caucus colleague of mine, and Zach Churchill as well. I traveled with Art and Mark from Sydney. Boys, thanks for coming out tonight. Appreciate it. I look at the crowd tonight. The room is full of many folks that I know. My first hockey coach is here. John, good to see you. Brian Shabib, when I started out my career, he was great to me when we were on the board together at CBU. So, and the list goes on and on. The Lebanese community has a big impact on my life. I'm blessed to have Janice Garib with me every day, who is the office manager for us. And if you ever see anything I say in the media, that is approved by Gary Andrea himself. So Gary, I don't think Gary's here tonight, but Gary plays a big part in what we do in the Department of Energy as well. So this is such an important night for you and for all of us as a government. We want to ensure that we do whatever we can to support the Lebanese heritage, the rich Lebanese heritage that we have here in Cape Breton, this community in particular, and across the province. That's why, as a government, we continue to provide support for events like this and other activities that have been planned. I do want to recognize the staff from Communities, Culture, and Heritage. Thanks for being here. Thanks for making the drive. You know, us politicians, we ask for stuff all of the time, and you know, you do a tremendous amount of work. So I think everybody should provide you with a thank you and a round of applause. So as we gather tonight, I hope that we can all share stories. This is an amazing event, a great turnout, and my commitment to all of you as an MLA here in the community is that I know that this is the beginning of a great relationship between the families. You have my full support and my commitment, and I'm sure I speak for all of us, Keith, when I say that we want to do whatever we can to help build the relationships that have already been instilled in this community for a very long time. So I'm really honored to be with you tonight, and thank you for the opportunity to provide a few words to you.
Thank you, Derek. So, the logo. So Charlene mentioned the logo. We were very proud of this picture, this figure. If you take your programs, you can see on the front page, there's the Lebanese Heritage Group logo. I'm going to explain how this came about. I have to thank Michael McMillan, a graphic artist here in North Sydney, who put this together. He's very patient and listened to our thoughts and our considerations for this particular logo. And through a few designs, he came up with this, and we ran with it. We loved it, so we're proud of it. So if you look at the center, we have the cedar tree. And of course, that represents the homeland, right? The cedar tree is very significant to the Lebanese culture. Moving outward, you have the compass. The compass represents the travel, you know, the travel that our ancestors, our descendants have made to be here, even here in North Sydney. And that leads to where you see the red N. You may be wondering why it's red, why it's different than all the other letters. It's basically because of the north, right? We're traveling northward, and even bringing it down further, it represents North Sydney, the north side area. So, you know, there's meaning to that logo. It's not just a picture. There's meaning behind every little bit in there. And finally, maybe I'll ask you, why do you see the vines? Grapevines. And as Charlene said, the food is such an important part of our culture. I can honestly say, I think at every meeting we would have dedicated, how many minutes? 20 minutes, 30 minutes sometimes, you know, dedicated to recipes. You know, recipes. You know, we'd be sitting around, how do you do this? How do you do that? Right? It happened quite frequently. And we had some funny comments, you know, like Harold Jabley, I don't know how many times I heard him say, where do you get the meat for your kibbe? Right? Those kind of comments that came out all the time. So we're very proud of our logo, and we hope it becomes, you know, a fixture in some of the other events, not just these events, but some of the other events throughout the community here, locally, and even further. You know, who knows where this will take us. So as Charlene said, this is just the beginning. You know, we want to be part of other things, and that's a good segue into being part of other things. Okay? So, yeah. So with that, I'd like to call upon Honorable Cecil Clark for a few words, please.
Thank you very much, Claude, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to this celebration, really, of life and living and community. And it's so great to be with one and all here and to see such a large number on a Friday night. And the weather is not dampening the spirits inside here, that's for sure. And we look at the Lebanese heritage and tradition of our communities. And I want to say a special thank you for everyone making this an important part of their day to come and celebrate and also commemorate the heritage we have that is shared and combined. And I would say, you know, as we look to the reverend clergy that are here, when I think of the Lebanese heritage, I think of church, I think of commerce, and I think of community. And all of them contributing in their own important way to our society. And I know, Minister Mumbercat, thank you so much for representing the province of Nova Scotia and Keith Bain for coming. Brian, it is great always to see you as a former member and mentor in politics and shared that history. And so the one thing I know about Brian, and I said to him, I said, nobody has made kibbe like your mom anywhere I've gone. And that's one of the things that Brian has passed on as part of his family's heritage so proudly, that we've always celebrated even in the political world. So you never know, and things connect in different types of ways. I know Councillor McMullen and myself, from a council point of view, when this came up and Isabel was reaching out and saying it was a very important event, and we said, well, there should be a proclamation to go with that event. And the one thing we want to say for next year, not only the proclamation, we want to make sure we raise this flag in front of City Hall as part of the Lebanese Heritage Month. That is the next objective for next year for us to celebrate and look forward to it as a community. So I invite one and all next year to City Hall for the special commemoration of the Lebanese Heritage Month in the Cape Breton Regional Municipality. But you know, when you grow up in a community, and I think now more than ever, when I really thought about tonight's significance, I look back to my own youth and starting at St. Mary's Elementary School as one of only 3 Protestants in the school and realizing there were certain differences even in that day and era in the 1970s. But I got to meet a real good friend of mine, Tracy Ray. And one of the things I realized was we didn't look at cultural differences. We were just kids in school having fun and playing in the playground and tearing around the streets of Archibald Avenue and the general area there, and having a lot of fun. But one of the things as a kid, you start knocking on doors. Can Tracy come out and play? And then the other thing you notice different between your house and their house was when the door opened, the food smells were different. You're like, what's that? Well, if I'm tired, bring me in. I'm tired of boiled dinner and goulash. This is great. And what you really realized was how special culture is to everybody. And we don't share it enough. And thank you to the organizing committee for sharing the cultural history, importance, and significance of the Lebanese community here on the north side. But I also, when I was driving over today, said, I look at the world getting more and more polarized, and more how we have to take time to celebrate our differences and our cultural uniqueness, which makes us stronger as Canadians. And to the committee, I say thank you so much on behalf of all the citizens of the Cape Breton Regional Municipality for sharing this, and not only getting to know yourselves, but getting the rest of our community to know you better and know that we are a stronger people, community, province, and country as a result of the contributions to church, to commerce and community. There's so much to celebrate. There's so much to be grateful for, and this couldn't be a greater night. And I thank you for the opportunity to be here. And I'd ask now if Councillor McMullen would read the proclamation presented to Council.
Way back there, and I've got heels on. Prior to me reading this, there's not much more I can follow up on with my colleagues, what they had just said, but you must all be very, very proud of not just the committee, but what you've done here. I don't have any Lebanese heritage that I'm aware of, but my family is from the north side, so there could be secrets out there that, you know, people just don't know. And I'm actually sad of that, watching this group come together and the names and the pride that's in there, but I am so extremely proud that this is now such a significant part of the north side, and I can't thank you all enough. So big round of applause for what you've done. So on with the proclamation. Lebanese Heritage Month. Whereas at the dawn of the 20th century, Lebanese settlers laid down roots in industrial Cape Breton, where a vibrant community rich in culture and tradition flourished. And whereas we are proud of the uniqueness and strength of the Lebanese heritage, which has been woven into our identity, and wish to see the culture and customs not just survive, but thrive as part of CBRM's character. And whereas November is a significant month for the Lebanese community, with celebrations around the world marking Lebanese Independence Day in commemoration of that nation gaining independence on November 22nd, 1943. Be it therefore resolved that Mayor Cecil P. Clark and Council of the Cape Breton Regional Municipality proclaim November as Lebanese Heritage Month in the CBRM.
Thank you for that. I'd like to call upon Joe Meany to say a few words, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you better be. Thank you very much. Welcome. On behalf of the North Sydney Historical Society, we welcome everybody here tonight. And hopefully, between the next 2 days, that you will have wonderful experiences and new friends and pleasant times. As the North Sydney Historical Society, we are pleased to offer a venue for your display over in the right-hand side there. And hopefully it will grow over a period of time, that it will grow. One person I'd like to thank especially is Bill Weatherby. Bill, you don't have to ask him anything. He's always ahead of you. Can we do this for you? Can we do that for you? And this is the way he was for the last 2 weeks especially. And I'd like to thank your chairperson, Charlene Peterson, for her kindness. And we hope over the next 2 days that you'll have memorable experiences and new friends. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for that. So the next piece is the museum display, the official unveiling. But before we do that, I wanna ask you a few questions here. And just bear with me, I have a point when I do this, okay? So looking at what you did today, okay, what kind of things did you do today? Did you go shopping? Okay, did you go for a walk, or some may have went to the gym? Think about the clothes that you're wearing this evening. The jewelry you may have on. What did you have for breakfast? What did you have for lunch? Maybe supper already. Did you go to eat? How did you get here tonight? Did you drive a car? Did you take a taxi? So what I'm getting at with that is that 130 years ago, or 100 years ago, 50 years ago, even within the last 20 years, those items that I mentioned, those things that may be in your mind that you're reflecting on, those items and services would have been available in large part here in North Sydney from the drive and determination and perseverance of the Lebanese families who established reputable businesses for decades. And, I recall these businesses as a kid. I do. I remember a lot of these businesses. I'm going to list some of these, and I think it's going to trigger some memories for a lot of people because a lot of these have come and gone. The Quality Grocery Store, Balla's Variety Store and Dress Shop, All Teens Jewelers, Shabib Shoe Hospital. That's where I got my skate sharpened when I was in my son's height. That's where I got my skate sharpened. I remember the smell. I was telling Leanna, I can remember the smell in there, the leather and the glue. You always that smell. People's Dairy, James Shabib Barbershop, Nadaf's Dry Goods, Jabalese Ladies and Menswear, Jabalese Groceries. Some of you may have been in a cab with my father or my Uncle Sam at Gora's Taxi, Gora Travel Services, Handy Andy Auto Supplies, the Maple Bud Confectionery, Jimmy Nadaf's Confectionery, the Bluebird Rooming House, the Bluebird Taxi Stand, and the Coffee Pot. And that's just a few. Like there's more to that. We found that whenever we met as a group, it started out monthly, it built on, then it became bi-weekly and weekly. It seemed like the list kept growing and growing. Leanna, I think we're up to 60?
It's over 60.
Yeah, over 60 businesses that were here, that resided here on the north side of Lebanese, those families that's what they did. They came and set up, and very successful, hardworking people. So I wanted to bring that, up front because, we started out with that. We started out with identifying all these different businesses, and it grew into more looking at our families within, and we learned a lot about each other. And it's been mentioned a few times here that we're learning not just ourselves, but our neighbors and what we brought here. What our ancestors brought here. So it's very special, very special. So I just wanted to bring that up. So the unveiling of the display. So I'd like to call upon the following individuals to represent here. Harold's not here today, but Edna, would you like to just go up? Gordon Sampson, Lauren Shabib, Claire Bishop, Maureen Nadav Sarul, Mike Kisself, Louis Brahe Jr., and Maureen Dunn Sarul. So Kevin, Brenda there, could you start unveiling our very proud display here?
Do we want to try to just get people?
So as mentioned, we have a number of artifacts, a number of business-related items, like the key that was mentioned earlier, very significant items. We felt that were representative of the Lebanese heritage here on the north side. So yeah, you know what? If everyone wants to take a walk through, now would be a good time.
Can we get the people to stand next to the display for photos first?
Sure.
As well?
Yeah.
And we get.
You guys going in there?
Just line up. So we get you in for a nice photo.
Wait for Bill to move. Everyone's waiting for Bill.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're just waiting for you.
Why am I doing this?
You stand it in the sign to get the sign.
Do you want to move a little bit? We can get the sign as well. Whoever said Oh my There we go. I think I can see everybody now.
That's great.
Let I wait.
You could smile. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, me?
All of you. There you go. Perfect.
So I think at this time, I think we, the committee deserves a round of applause. So again, I thank Charlene and Isabel. I'm going to call them up now for closing remarks.
We'll give everyone a chance to mill around in a few minutes. We'll wrap it up here and get underway. So we're going to have a final toast, and we're probably going to, as I speak, we're going to start passing out little shot glasses of Arak. We just want to take a moment to remind everyone that we're not finished. Tomorrow, we have permission from the Historical Society to have the museum open from 10 until 2. It's maybe the public will come in. You can spread the word. We didn't want to do too much advertising. We thought word of mouth was working really well, and we wanted to start be able to handle it all this year. But we'll invite them in from 10 until 2, and they might want to go downstairs to one of our workshops. So there are little pamphlets around, so if you, there has been some confusion, and it's my family who's been confused. Charlene, what's going on Friday night? What's going on Saturday night? What are we doing? And I've been repeating it a lot. So there's little pamphlets for my family. 10 a.m., learn to write your name in Arabic. I just want to mention too that we were trying to come up with ideas as to an event or what could we do, and it really just became all of the ideas. Let's do them all in small little groupings like this. At 11 a.m. We have John Andrea is going to do genealogy, sharing our knowledge, and that's wonderful. He came down from Halifax to do that with us. We're going to break for lunch. And then at 1 o'clock, we're going to have introductory Arabic. And you know you're in good hands because you've heard her this evening. It always sounds so poetic. I have to go before her. She sounds great afterwards. And then the cooking demonstration as well by Isabel. She's going to play Martha Stewart downstairs as well. I want to also thank, before we go on there, Peter and Michael Walsh for their extra chairs to see they came down today with, and I meant to thank Marine Atlantic. I know, Arlene, you have a lot of phone calls, I think, for people about podiums and all these different things, so thank you for, and the librarian Debbie as well for staying this evening for our event. At 4 o'clock, we're going to have Mass at St. Joseph's Parish, and we're going to have Father Doug do that with Father Jake. And we're not, I think Father Maroon might have other things I think came up with him, but we hope to have them. And then at 7 o'clock tomorrow night, we'll have a Lebanese storytelling event. We're going to have it upstairs here at this lovely museum, and we hope to see you. Oh, is it downstairs? Okay, might be downstairs at the pension. And I think that's all I have to say, and I'm going to pass it over to Isabel. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
We have to get that.
We have to
Yeah.
tell Ronnie in there. I'd like to call upon Brian to come up. Brian's going to do our toast. But before I get Brian to do the toast, I'm just going to make one little comment in Arabic. And I'm going to say this, Inshallah Kilsidi Mabadna. Hopefully every year we'll get together and do something like this again. Okay, Brian?
What a heartwarming journal to just see. Thank each and every one of you for coming out and helping us celebrate. It is my honor to propose a toast. First, to our ancestors. They bravely came to a new country with a dream, fueled by vision, determination, and business savvy. They certainly multiplied. Their deep commitment to family and their strong work ethic allow them to prosper and enrich each of the communities they came to. Second, to us, their descendants. We have tried to continue this legacy and honor them by shining a light on their accomplishments. Their leadership by example and the rich cultural heritage they have entrusted to us. And thirdly, to our children and their children, who extend the arms of the multi-family tree. We know you will build on the foundation of those who have come before you with pride and reverence. Let's raise our glasses to the past, the present, and the future. To the Lebanese community.
Okay, just wait 1 minute until everybody gets a drink. So we're just gonna, they're coming
Yeah,
around
they're coming
now.
around.
Yeah, go.
Sorry, buddy. I see what Brenda's doing. She's going to pass it up. Let's lap it up out the kettle.
Oh, yeah. For me.
Good answer.
And this bottle of that came from the Cobb Valley. Cassines winery.
Tell them that in the microphone. Tell them that in the microphone.
Great. I'll just squeeze this beside you. I just want to explain to you what you're getting is called ara, and it's like a licorice flavor. This particular ara came from Bekaa Valley at a distillery called Cassines, and this is served an awful lot in Lebanon. From morning till dusk. You might have it for breakfast. You'll have it with your tabbouleh and your raw kibbe, your cooked kibbe, maza at the restaurants, in the evening as a nightcap. It's a popular drink in Lebanon.
Obviously.
Yes.
Is there a toast that goes with it?
Yes, just 1 second. Does everybody have? Sorry, Bob. Does everybody have a glass? No? There's still some more people without? Just bear with us till we get everybody there.
Supposed to be a hair tonic too.
You want some tea in it?
Everybody, can I say? Oh, you absolutely.
Give the toast first.
Inshallah, Kil City Maban, Kieskon.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
You go to bed right after Don't let them go to waste.
Father, I see those girls coming back in already.
Okay, everyone, that concludes our event here upstairs. However, please take your time and move safely down the stairs. We have a reception downstairs with some Lebanese appetizers and beverages. So thank you all.
After that shot, be very careful. They can have a look at the display.